With me now is someone who knows exactly what's at stake in this election, because it's a path that Europe in many ways has already gone down. Katie Hopkins is a British columnist and political commentator, and she joins me now. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Great. So when I look to Europe, especially the UK, I see what could happen here in the US, such as more lockdowns. That's something that Biden has said he would consider pursuing if he were to win in November, and that's something you currently are facing under Boris Johnson.
Yeah, absolutely. And, let's be really frank about this. I was a big kind of fan of Boris Johnson through Brexit, but Boris Johnson has turned out to be more disappointing than my first marriage. And that lasted less than a year. He is now going to Parliament on Thursday. He's going to lock down this entire country once more. No shops, no bars, no restaurants, no gyms, no garden centres. And there is a deep sense of gloom and despair here because businesses will not survive this lockdown. And of course, there is no earthly rationale for it. And this is why, one of the messages to America is don't become like us. America can't afford a Biden presidency either. And that's why it's so imperative Trump will win. And of course, having just spent 3 months on the road joining your fight for Trump, I feel very confident as a foreigner and as an outsider that Trump is going to get the win.
And so from your travels here in the US, what did you see that really made you feel like President Trump will win? Because as you know, we see the polls and they're saying that Biden is just way ahead.
Absolutely. And, let's respect the fact that I know I'm a foreigner and you guys have kicked our little British asses out of your country once before. So I say that as a preface. I spent 3 months going from California right across to Florida and then back again through Minnesota, some of the dark places in Minneapolis. And what you see is that our side, this is not about red nor blue. This is not about Republican or Democrat. This is a return to the founding fathers. This is an election unlike any other. This is biblical in proportion. People are coming home to the founding fathers, coming home to American values. And no matter how people identified in the past, whether they may have voted Democrat in the past, that's not who they are. What people need is American values, values of faith, of family, and of freedom. And when you look around you, look around your country, our side, Trump's side, is the side of joy. Because when we're together, we lift each other up. I was at the Beverly Hills rally last week, 4,000 people just overjoyed to be together. And I think that's why it's the euphoria and the joy of the Trump team.
That's really well put. And it's something that is
He's
so
got
true
this, and
because
I
when you
hope that
see,
when we do, yeah.
yeah, because when you see, for example, left-wingers, Democrats, Biden supporters, they always seem so full of anger and hatred. You see them lashing out at Trump supporters, you're racist, you're xenophobic, you're XYZ, all this stuff. And then when we see a Biden presidency, what that would mean for cancel culture, for example, and I know that's something that's affected you personally as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We are a good example of what you don't want to become. And that's what you'd become under Biden. You see a little case study of it already where Minnesota should be a red state. I believe it will be again. But because of this importing of individuals from other countries into the heart of Minneapolis, it allows that state to masquerade as if it was a blue state. That's exactly like England. We imported. Now it appears that we have a Muslim mayor. We have Muslim mayors in every town and city, and I've become a hunted woman. We cannot allow this to happen in America. My message to Americans is never let yourself fall as we have fallen. And it gives me such pride and an enormous sense of emotional kind of friendship and kindredship across the pond to please let me tell Americans that so many great British people are with you. We stand with you. We applaud you. You are our hope as well. And every time you go to a rally and everything you've done to support Trump, we are right there on your shoulder applauding you. We are not spoken for by Sadiq Khan, our ridiculous Muslim mayor, who also happens to be short, like Dr. Fauci. Short people should not be anywhere near politics, in my opinion. Fauci should be fired, but we apologize for the Muslim mayor. We support you, we applaud you, and I know Trump is going to get the win.
And I love how your backdrop right now as well, it's the American flag and the British flag together conjoined. I love that so much.
It's
Yeah.
how I live my life. I feel
Yeah.
like I live my life straddling the pond, and my heart is with America. My family is here. But great Americans, your finest document ever written, the Constitution, your Second Amendment has never been stronger. You cannot buy a weapon or ammunition across the states. And I say that you are still one nation under God. You are a republic, not a democracy. And you are going to win because this is the election of American values, and they always will prevail.
I love that so much because it really does concern me when I see the cultural Marxism that has seeped into the American consciousness, and a lot of times without even people fully realizing that it has. You see people agreeing with Black Lives Matter just because the name itself is true and it sounds good, without realizing the full implications of what that would mean. And for example, for you in the UK, you're seeing this Islamic terror component that's taking over government institutions there. Here in the US, it's cultural Marxism that's doing that.
Absolutely. And as we speak here right now, there's an Islamic terror attack happening. I've got messages from a friend whose daughter's caught up in it in Vienna, in Austria. There's a hostage situation. We've just had the attacks in Paris. Paris is utterly lost to the Islamists. And I say to anybody with your Biden-Harris signs in your smart lawns outside your fancy middle-class houses, get those lawn signs in, because they will not protect you when the mob comes. I've just heard that lockdowns are going to be in place on election day from the 3rd of November from 7 p.m. till 7 p.m. the next day, because the mob will come. And that's the Biden side. That's the left. They are an angry, vicious mob. And if I could get my hands on one woman in America, it would be Jill Biden. My message to Jill Biden: you disgust me. I have a husband. I would never allow someone I love to be humiliated on a national stage. And that's precisely what that woman has done. I don't know how she looks at herself in a mirror. I presume she's smeared it over with something greasy so she doesn't have to look at her own reflection. But that woman disgusts me, and I'm sure she disgusts American patriots as well.
I mean, that's what power does. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But here we are on the eve of the big day, and you've given me a lot of hope, Katie. I feel much better now going into tomorrow.
Yeah.
I love your enthusiasm.
Well done, darling.
Thank you so much
Yes,
for
go
joining us
you,
tonight.
go America, go Trump.